Hi. Hello, my name is Toni Key, and I'm going to talk to you today about John Dewey. This video is a little late because my family has been on a social distancing vacation across the United States. We've been camping, and it was kind of hard to do a video camping, and I didn't realize it was a video that I had to do for this discussion board. So anyway, so let's talk about John Dewey. John Dewey is my kind of man because he changed education to the world of student learning, student-centered learning. John Dewey, he was one of the most influential philosophers and educators of the 20th century. He changed the structure of education. Before Dewey, education was kind of geared towards political and civic-minded goals. His philosophy focused on socialization and democratic contribution to society. He viewed that education should be used as a tool to resolve problems that occur within a society, and that it should be used to teach students how to become part of the greater collective group in a society. Dewey, he was born in 1859. He grew up in a moral family. They went to church, and they taught him to be a good person and to be good to others. And he also grew up when his childhood was a Civil War had erupted. And during his childhood, he watched America go from a rural agricultural society to the urban industrial society. He lived through the progressive era and seen social and political change and growth. The world of science was ever-changing during his childhood, and also the advancement in technology. He derived his theories from the ever-changing world around him and the experience that he learned from the changing world. He lived through the Depression, Cold War, and during the growth of nuclear warfare. He watched how America developed into rugged individuality. That he wanted to change from the rugged individuality to more of people being individuals. And he wanted to change that not only in society, but he also wanted to change that in education. He attended the University of Vermont and Johns Hopkins University. After receiving his doctorate, he taught philosophy at the University of Michigan. And he eventually became the head of the Department of Philosophy at the University of Michigan. That is where he met his wife, Harriet Alice Chipman. They got married and had 6 children, but 2 of their children died. And when 2 of their children died, he adopted a little boy from Italy. And then Harriet eventually passed away, and when she passed away, he did remarry. Dewey, he developed his pragmatic philosophy that led to schools developing learning environments that included social engagement and also learning, but he didn't really believe in learning in all subjects. He thought the social aspect of learning was the most important part. He also agreed that students needed to learn skills to be productive citizens in society. The environmental embracement of student-centered learning helped develop individualism and student interest, which kind of contributed to the good of the whole collective group of society. He believed that students learn from their environment and that objects in their environment help them learn and think and figure out how things worked. He stressed that science and scientific tools were the main focus of learning. He also felt that other subjects, they were important but really didn't need to be emphasized. He believed that human fulfillment could be obtained by scientific investigation. He developed a human capital theory, and in this theory he stressed that education needs to develop skills for society, living, and jobs. So students need to learn those skills in the classroom to help them in the future, force it when they lived in society. In his Democracy of Education, he described how a democratic society should not set up barriers. The democratic society should be flexible and accommodate different styles of lives and events. He wrote that life is a self-renewing process through action upon the environment. Dewey believed that a student should not be defined by grades or compared to other students in the learning process. The learning process is an ongoing process throughout a lifehood. Dewey believed that students, they learn by doing and undoing. So basically, it's a lot of hands-on learning. So a student in their environment, what they see by the objects around them is how they learn, is how they get their knowledge. One good thing about Dewey is his works can still be seen in classrooms today. In project-based assignments and group work, and also trying to develop the interest of the individual student. In the student learning centered classrooms that we have today, the teacher is a facilitator, and they kind of facilitate the student to their own interest in their own learning process. In Montessori schools, his philosophy is also prevalent during today's times. In a Montessori school, you see a lot of student choice, kind of their own pacing, their choice of what they want to learn and when they want to learn it. In today's responsive classroom, you can see a lot of Dewey's works. It's derived from his practices where an educator develops a classroom that is kind of like a happy place. It's a classroom environment of positivity. This helps build a community of learners. Dewey wanted a classroom to be a happy place where students thrive socially and educationally. He kind of wanted that teacher to be that happy person also. Not that direct teacher who stood up in front of the classroom and just constantly talked. He wanted the teacher to interact with the students and ask for their opinions and see what they thought. And also, today you think about some of the Common Core that goes on, and a lot of learning that is based on scores and data, and the students a lot of time are just a number in today's teaching. Well, Dewey would not agree with that. And also he would not agree with the direct instruction classroom, where the teacher just gets up and lectures all class period. That is not the kind of classroom that Dewey wanted. He wanted the student to be that individual, to have a great part in their learning environment, and he wanted them to be able to, do what they wanted to do to learn what they needed to learn. Dewey is very diverse in the learning process. Dewey, he believed that culture and race needs to be embraced in the learning environment. If you embrace culture in the learning environment, it leads to the good of society. Dewey said it was the educational's responsibility for equality. This was unlike some of the classrooms of before in the common classrooms, where they were not culturally sensitive to students of different backgrounds, religion, or race. Dewey explains how diversity in groups is a key component in society, commerce, transportation, and even communication, which can even be seen today. That is how we grow in society, is by the diversity of cultures. And you can look at the U.S. today. This is how America society works and grows, is by the diversity with among us and the individualism among us. Although I think Dewey has some great works, and he ever changed the world of education for the good, I think his belief in focusing on the same subject areas and not taking in mind like prior knowledge in the learning process is kind of maybe a flaw. Because I do believe in a classroom, I still think a teacher needs to have some direct instruction, because a student has to have some prior knowledge to learn. They can learn from their environment, but I think prior knowledge is very important. And I think his works for individualism and student-centered learning changed the learning environment for the good. I mean, that's how we've become, how we learn today, is because of a lot of Dewey's works. And he believed that all students should have the same opportunity to learn. His views on education were so important that, fair for everybody. Everybody gets a good education, not just selected ones like before his time, that it was just for the men or for their political mindset, but education needs to be for everybody. And everybody should get the same fair education. And I appreciate Dewey's works because I believe that in a classroom, you should have a diverse, open classroom for everybody, no matter what the race, religion, background, culture, anything. And I think it needs to develop on people's individual interest. But I also think that, as Dewey said, a classroom needs to develop skills to make a productive citizen in the future. So, guys, I hope everybody's safe and, sound in this every crazy time right now. And God bless y'all, and thank you for listening.